Welcome everyone, this is your host Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by Seven Sagas and the recent release of Medjay, Secrets Beneath the Sand. This is a larger-than-life Monster Hunter tabletop RPG where you get to explore the ancient mysteries of Egypt and confront the threats from within, from without, perhaps from beyond the stars. You will find it in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by Gates of Krystalia, the card-driven isekai style tabletop RPG. It is available in 6 languages, and they have recently released the Last Deux advanced rulebook. This optional expansion brings many things to the table, such as details on the setting, on character development, isekai tropes such as the beach trip, romance rules, the school trip. You also have solo rules to play this as a solo or cooperative experience without a game master. You will find it in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by Detri Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop role-playing game where you play as monster girls experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have recently released Daughters of Lamb. This is a pay-what-you-want tabletop RPG where you get to play as cybernetic nuns with guns, looking for the missing pieces of their AI god. You will find it in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store. For exclusive tabletop RPG products, they have recently released Final Frontier. This is a streamlined sci-fi tabletop RPG where you get to explore space for justice, for profit, for both. You will find it in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Now, a moment please while I maximize. There we go. This time I want to talk about the recent session of the Traveler Second Edition Secrets of the Ancients campaign. If you haven't seen it, please check out the playlist. This video is going to contain spoilers. I think that the major highlight of that session was the concept, at least in my mind, the concept of looking at the game world as if it were your character sheet. What do I mean by this? There could be players that, when confronting various situations, the first thing that they do is look to their character sheets. They look at the character sheet as if it's some sort of menu with the magical key to solve encounters. I think this stems a bit from a video game type of mentality, a mentality, or perhaps even a board game mentality. And not to say that those experiences are bad. You play video games and board games when you like those, when you want to experience that particular gameplay style, correct? In the case of video games, you enjoy the combination of graphics, sound, gameplay, fast reflexes, perhaps. It depends on the video game that you are playing. And in the case of board games, you want to play that game with certain limitations so that you can win by understanding such limitations, getting to the goal, buying the most properties, whatever, right? Depending on the board game. There are many. There are even like RPG type of board games, but still you are limited by those strict rules because otherwise there wouldn't be any sort of balance and it wouldn't be such a strictly game focused experience that you obtain greater enjoyment from by winning despite the limitations. But when it comes to tabletop role playing games, because you're playing a game and you're playing a role, you're interacting with a game world in the most realistic way within the fiction. So, in the case of the session, both Josh and Miguel were at risk of having their characters killed by 3 Imperial Marines. And instead of getting, how you say, boxed into the concept of looking for the character sheet for a solution, they looked outside. They understood their environment. You had the main ship when the action where the action was happening, but you also had this other ship connecting with the other vessel. So you had the I forget the name of their ship, the Star Hunter, and the Squire. The Squire had just connected. So Josh came up with a simple but very effective idea. What if they were to lure the Marines into the other vessel so that both ships would disconnect from each other, would detach, and the other one would be sent crashing down with the Marines inside? So that's a way of using the environment as a weapon. Once Miguel was aware of the what Josh had in mind, he also started to get to work. Their mindsets, they got into the pathfinding or problem solving mentality of getting the Marines into the other ship while escaping that ship at the same time that is luring them into the other vehicle and then making their way out just in time so that the AI, the artificial intelligence Simon, would close the Marines inside of the ship that was going to crash down. And so you see, if they decided to just stick to their character sheets to, oh, what are the weapons that we have, the skills, do we have something? No, look outside, look to the environment. The battlefield is constantly going to change. So if you are just paying attention to your character sheet, you're going to be ignoring all of those potential weapon opportunities that you can employ that are tied to the environment itself. And I associate this with a video game mentality because in video games, due to the limitations, you cannot do just anything with the environment. It has to be programmed within the game. I can't think of a single game that allows you to do anything that you like with the environment. Some video games have gone pretty close to it. You can climb and you can swim and you can destroy and you can build. You can do a lot of things. But the most creative, out of the box solutions, they're oftentimes not possible. Even when it comes to interacting with the environment, with existing tools or spells or abilities, or using various materials of the environment that are not programmed. Like in many games that you can build things with pieces from the environment, only if it is programmed to be done in a certain way. If you think of a more creative solution of employing such materials and it is not programmed into the game, can't do it. Tough luck. In the case of computer RPGs, like those isometric type of video games, if you cannot climb in that place in the scenario, the trees, the fortresses, you cannot do that. Is if it is not programmed, you cannot even attempt it. There were many times throughout my life when I saw those moments that, oh, I want to go into that structure, or oh, can I climb that, or can I go into that lake? But no, it was not programmed into the game. Tough luck. And that's what I love so much about tabletop RPGs. And I find it nonsensical when people compare tabletop RPGs with video games because tabletop RPGs have no limit within the fictional environment. You can attempt anything, even with your own powers and abilities. Just putting the world aside for a moment, even your powers and abilities are very flexible. Your items, your artifacts, you can employ them, use them in so many ways. But in video games, unless it is programmed into the game, you cannot attempt it. And again, this is not to say that video games are bad. I play video games, but I play video games when I want those limitations that happen alongside the graphics, the music, the gameplay, the eye hand coordination with the screen, navigating the menus in the case of turn-based RPGs. Very different experience when compared to tabletop RPGs, especially because you are describing your actions and reactions within the game world. So, yeah, a very enjoyable session that showcases that don't look at your character sheet. Or if you want to look at the character sheet, do it out of combat, perhaps, or when it's not your turn to attack. Become aware of the environment and how you can interact with that environment. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it informative and entertaining. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Like, subscribe, take a look at the information in the description and in the pinned comment. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. And remember, in tabletop role playing games, you are not having a conversation about your characters. You are experiencing the game world as your characters. Once again, thank you and see you later.